So what we'd like to do next is move on to a performance of a new book of poetry by Lee Maracle, and we're so honored to have her here. Lee Maracle is from the Stolen Nation and was born in North Vancouver, BC. She's currently a teacher and mentor for Aboriginal students at the University of Toronto, and also the Traditional Cultural Director for the Indigenous Theatre School. Her works include the novels Raven Song, Bobby Lee, Sundogs, short story collection Sojourner's Truth, and the poetry collection Bent Box, and numerous nonfiction essays. Lee will read to us tonight from her newest book of poetry, Talking to the Diaspora.
First, I want to mention this, My grandfather did the first spoken word poem with music in Canada in 1967. And he was asked not to speak. That's why he recited a poem. And my father and my aunts and my uncle wasn't very old then. I think he was 16, but they sang background for him. And on national TV, the newsman was saying, "Is he talking? He's not supposed to be talking. There's no Indians talking in this." He kept going on like that. And finally he shut up and started to listen. And it was like the next day the Red Power movement started. Howard Adams was inspired by him, George Erasmus, myself, and dozens of other people. And my family and I are going to gather again and do an updated version for this next 150. Hopefully we'll do as good a job and inspire another generation of youth. By the way, that list that you read off that George Erasmus recommended to his people, he asked me to put a list together, and every one of those books was on the one I gave him, which is very funny. I think I was 18 at the time. Thank you. This is on the 25th anniversary of Martin Luther King. I was asked to do this by some group, and they published it. I can't remember who. It's a time back. And this starts with Birmingham. My mother had the only television in our reserve. Birmingham has a ring. Ta'a rolls it out slow, ending with an easy hum. The wood floors peeled back echo the name she makes, reshapes it, almost a song. Wind whistles through cracks. The shiplack accompanies the floor, chanting, Birmingham, Birmingham. The black box is new. It visions story. Black, white, shades of gray, faraway people enter the space of a table that squats over pine planks. Unfinished, we chant, Birmingham, Birmingham. A white man plays with it. Images of children emerge, a moving photo drama. We still seated, stare. They're black from Ta'a, like a reverent question. From Africa, Mama says, saying the A like it was holy. How do they know, I ask. Still silent, they nod. I don't get it. The box with its moving kids roars an unrecognizable sound. Why are they talking about disperse, Mom? Shh. It chops the air, crisp, sandy, short. Watch, Ta'a intervenes on my behalf. I do. The hollering elevates. The voices have a lilt. It gathers speed, increases volume, advances toward the children. Words stretch themselves beyond my familiar, but I know what they say. How do I know? The breath in the room stops. The image in the box holds it. I watch the women watching, not toward home, but toward, into the fray. The tension in this room thickens. Something is going to happen here. The swaying short black people take on a murmur. The men swing sticks, connect. A small girl screams, darts behind the line of bigger kids. The sound becomes words. I ain't scared of your jail 'cause I want my freedom. The swaying menaces a crazy dance of defiance. We rise to our feet, salute, ta'a and mama weep, their fists clenched. They remember something I need to know. The sticks hit their marks. I'm sorry, this is so suddenly emotional to me. The sticks hit their marks. Children lurch into the swing. I cringe, scream in silence. The song swells, a tide of children singing, dancing, defiant, falling bodies bleeding. My mama sings the song, tears punctuating, ain't a scared of your jail. Ta'a, her poor broken English, fights to sing the song of justice. Ain't a scared of your jail. Are they crazy? Do they expect me to be this black, this defiant, so willing to bleed for a thing called freedom? Shaking, someone has to tell me something here. The newsman, horrified, shouts. His camera struck, he falls. The box blackens, then light. Someone seated says, and that's the news from Birmingham, Alabama. My mother lunges at him, shuts him up mid-sentence, talking about the weather. My mother scares me. She shuts white men up. Ta'a's body stills. Remember, these people have no shame. It fills every corner, sucks up the air I'm trying to breathe. I opt to swallow it. Post Martin mother talk. Martin has a dream, me too. I dream of salmon runs so thick no one hungers. Cedars so old no one is homeless. I dream swans so loving no one murders us. I dream barracudas sharking, mangling emotional insanity, crippling narrowed vision, boring holes in meanness. I dream rats perish, clean air peoples the sky, and sun blankets children. I dream Palestine to life, Bantustans into graves, Soweto back to language, a shared and precious thing. The world becomes slow, easy in my dream. Deep breath, short breath, soft breath, no sucking wind and holding, shaking, no shallow panic, no breath forced past tight vocal cords, no stop, stop, please, don't, please, my child, my baby, please, stop, stop, please. Martin floats on the wind, riding an old cayuse. Slahot, crazy horse, Pappy, even Shell calls out, I ain't a scared of your jail 'cause I want my freedom. Martin carries Sojourner's truth, her laughing, him just being, both singing, we shall overcome. Martin's dream, Brad breathes easy, where the red man, the white man, the yellow man, the black man can live in peace. My Pappy adds, and love the land, love the land. 1990 Okotok, I want peace, freedom from war, freedom from strife, freedom from conditions which annoy the mind. 2000 Millennium Grandma Talk, scraps of childhood memory placed in a circle around me. There's Ta'a, revering shame, Mama shutting up white men, shut up for mouthing nigger, me shaking freedom into my belly, dreaming black dreams of peace, free airspace, love, maybe joy, some easy kind of living. This dream is a bridge, inviting others to its arc. Share this space, stand on it, string your dreams, make the arc swell, make the number touch the sky. On this bridge, across Turtle's back, free spirits still dance. And I want to do this one for Mahmoud Darwish. I was honored by Mahmoud. He wanted an indigenous person to translate his work. And after 2 minutes of conversation with him, he said, no, I want her to translate my work. So I read his translation at the Habitat Conference and fell in love with his poetry. And for the Gaza children, I wrote this poem during the massacre of the Gaza children. Let's hope I can get through this one too, because it's pretty emotional. My kids were part of the first demonstrations against the Palestinians, and they met Mahmoud, and my little girl tugged at his jacket, and he looked at her, what he said. She said, "Are you a Palestinian?" And he said, "For you, darling, I'll be anything." So here we are. Mahmoud's poems are beads of sweat, dripping from stressed and weathered foreheads, to fall near silent amid incessant Israeli bombs, to rise blood from between the bits of rubble clutched by Palestinians chasing a livelihood from a shrinking land base. How well I know that. They become desperate word flowers, blooming nonetheless from a land occupied by settlers, chronically stealing the lives of children. It's December. Toronto. Gaza is on fire again. Another wounded knee. Another massacre. No muskets this time. Tanks, monster machines, bombs, and missiles pummel the children. How brave is that? Minus 40 Celsius in Winnipeg. Palestinians and indigenous children wave placards. Stop killing children in Palestine. Free Gaza. My tears freeze on my face. My daughter's there, just as she was 35 years ago, chanting Free Palestinians. My frozen tears cut pain lines on my face. In between the rubble, Darwish's last words look at the world, say goodbye to Edward Said. Peer past the camps, the bombs, the hypocrisy, stubborn, resistant, eternal. There is no tomorrow in yesterday, so let us advance, he says. I stare at the photo. A small boy cradles a pair of stones. Gleaned from the rubble, I imagine him hearing Darwish's ghostly words. These tones testify, this is his home. He clutches them. He looks set to advance. The stones are no longer simply rubble. They cradle a story. They cradle his memory. They cradle his hopes. They cradle Darwish's last testament. There is no tomorrow in yesterday, so let us advance. In this boy's hands, the stones transform. They are the story markers of his future. They are his beginning, beloved stones, last bits of a place called home. They become stones of conscience. They are his stones of pride. They will become his stones of belonging. They are the rocks of justice for us all. His face is set. His eyes see past this rubble. They see forward to his return, forward to the restoration of his homeland, forward to the right of return. In his eyes, I see indigenous, global tenacity. I touch the stones in the photo, caress his face, commit to my own bridge, this arc of light under this wind of war, of dispossession. I want to build a pathway and blow us all toward freedom and justice. I want the wind of freedom to echo the resonance of Mahmoud's breath tracks. Let us pick up this stone of justice. Let's build this bridge that will lead us to the laughter of belonging, of being where we belong, of being who we are and always will be. This light shines back at me from his eyes. The light illuminates his stones, bound as these stones are to his resolve to traverse across this abyss between his refuge and the tanks. My commitment to Palestine floats. The light emanates from his eyes, captures my heart. I whisper, Palestine, Palestine, free Palestine, wounded knee, no more wounded knees. I imagine him listening, hearing me, nearly smiling, just before he throws his stones. Well, there you go. How much time do I have? How much time? Do I have time to read a little bit of Talking to the Diaspora? Okay, this is a long poem, so I'm not going to read it all probably, because she's going to wave at me and say, shut up, and I'm going to shut up. I do what I'm told. Thank you. But this is written for the Diaspora Dialogues, who actually hired me to teach a young, or mentor a young man of color poet. And I thought, why man of color? I'm just curious, you know. And they said, well, we're all people of color in the Diaspora Dialogues. And I said, why is that? Well, aren't we the only diaspora here? And I said, no. Everybody that isn't Indigenous in North America is part of a diaspora. That's how it works. But anyway, I decided to go ahead and mentor this fellow. He got his little book published, and I was asked also to write a long poem for the diaspora. And so I wrote, Talking to the Diaspora. Why not? I've never talked to them before. So the first thing I do is define it. I don't know English that well. My first language is so there you go. Forced out, the spatial or geographic property of being scattered over a range, a volume, an area, worldwide in distribution. Of Turtle Island, anyone who is not Indigenous is part of some diaspora. I wonder about language with its raw, frayed fringes, delicately trying to express spirit. As each word drips from lips to rest in blank spaces between us, mangled by emptiness, the words are deflowered. When addressed, this diaspora sometimes responds, debating, educating, arguing, buying time, stealing 15 minutes from our space. This quarter hour, so vital to our desire to regroup, profanes our peace. I gather alphabetized concepts of Frau, slice into its heart and open veins. I carve Frau's paragraphs onto trees, pulverized and flattened. Under the flat white surfaces, ancestral bones rattle, play an old game of the howl. My sticks know these songs. From the summit of mountain ranges, words fall through the diaspora's moral sky holes. In their descent, they scrape meaning from cliffs. Words blend with the chaotic rhythm of crushed rock, bind them to the plastic saran-wrapped food, perverted oil fuel, styrofoam insulated buildings. It's a crazy kind of song. The mountain cliffs contort, the captains send infantry, strip naked, reshaped surfaces children can't play on. Each transformed object screams, "Buy me, I will transform you." Base advertisements claim power can be yours. Just buy this bauble, 99 cents. Be the daughter of an Aussie Harriet caricature, erasing blemishes. Under the bared sky of scarred mountain stone is syringed, battered, extricated, dragged out, and lathed into new spears to become bullets aimed at children, the relatives of others from the diaspora. The captains conjure killing machines, erasing meadows and eradicating gullies. The eye line of progress becomes civilized. Cheap labor's coinage becomes exchange power. Progress offends future. Kills the monarch butterfly, wings flapping ineffectual, starves bees, melts ice. Progress has no song. Bell pops without resonance, its smooth ring arrested. The interrupted rhythm becomes ocean salt dreams, waves cresting, then perishing. Progress is toxic froth, bleeds red, sunsets, curls around old fires, chanting the rhythm of drums. Words can break irascible barriers, compress time, measure being, measure beats, squeeze time. Words lodge in the tissue, inside muscle and bone, brace the body for communion, not always desired. I wonder about language as humans close the space between invitation, exclusion, and the elephant in the room, where language is warm, fired, unmentioned, centered on entry. The captains are marauders, bellowing from the summit, ridiculing landscape with gouges, mottled words, riddle meaning. They betray and demand. Claw slices the marauders' moments into thin wisps, exposing culpability, their bloodless decision-making. Thaw, energy, points to paragraphs of desecration. These captains have heard our songs. The bone songs compete with bellows. Everyone who dares to doubt progress is excluded. Progress has no melody. Incarcerated in bloodletting metropolitan nightmares, drowns justice hands out, dancers wave to sunrise as the sun sets. It opens its veins, fries ice, storms trees, pop and snap, decorating the world in destruction. My ancestors halt, breath, mouth glottalized, X's mocked from Machu Picchu to Iqaluit. Voices circle the globe, earth moves, progress thrives on children's blood. No one copes. Progress is a corporate superstition. Corporate myth inspires global toxicity. Its mythology is omniscient. Sockeye, cedar, even raven prefer death to challenging its legendary omnipresence. The surreal nightmare hounding earth, deriving sockeye to scurry to outside edges of sanity, scrabbling for one last gasp at reason, failing. The poisoned water drives her to suicide. This is such an odd response. The suicide swim seems almost courageous, normal, as she arrives too early to procreate. She fails to subject her young to a toxic life. What would be the point? Sockeye's heart cringes, cuts frantic spirals in ocean playgrounds, baked too warm for her to know what time it is. It must have felt right. This suicide run upstream, rapids pounding her thin frame, gray smoke explosions, send children to the altar of sockeye suicide, devour feminine hope. Some bomb village crashes to the street, weapons cheer her on, clap, spit, bark, bone, fragments fly, bleed, rose on the pavement, breath halts. A sharp rifle crack binds her to the empty womb of others, pulling a last shout from the gray smoke-filled Palestinian landscape. Desperate people don't make clean decisions. Cobalt-hued polished steel shafts exterminate joy, intervene in the easy journey. Shreds swallows sanity as though it were the monarch fighting to butterfly its way through a hurricane, while Earth rushes herself to a new season before the old one has been properly interred. It goes on a little longer, and we'll be done with that. Thank you very much for listening.